Mike, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I see your name, but I don't see your face. All right. 'Cause
Oh,
I think just,
I had my cameras off. Hold on.
it's just a little fake person. It's just, I don't know. I see your name
Hold on.
and I hear the rain. God, it's pouring again.
It's coming. It's coming. There you
There
go.
you go. Now I can see you.
It's pouring at your house?
Oh, just pouring. Buckets.
Not here. Not here.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's really good. Tired of it.
Well, it's good for you. Good for the store, right? All those plants get watered.
Well, they do need water. It does save us a lot of energy because we have to water every day. But now we won't have to water for a couple of days. Yeah, crazy.
Yep.
How's your summer going?
Not too bad. Hanging in there. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's good. I'm going to California next week with my 4 grandchildren, so that should be fun.
Oh, great. Good for you.
Yeah, should be good.
That's terrific. How long you staying?
Just 7 days. We're driving down the coast, San Francisco to San Diego.
Very nice.
Docking
I've done
along.
that a few times. That's really nice.
Yeah, it is good. They've never done it. I've done that a lot of times. George and I used to do that every winter, but it's nice. Oh.
Absolutely.
So where is everybody?
Good thing. I know.
Is there
Usually
anybody
at the
here?
last minute, like me.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at. It says doesn't say anything.
Well, usually at the last minute, like me. So.
Yeah. Well, you get 3 or 4 more minutes, and it doesn't matter. But usually a few people on by now.
Well, I think Alan's got to. He's the show host, so he has to log in for everything to come together.
Well, he sent out the message.
Must be people logging in because the software is slowing down.
You know, he sent the message twice.
Yes.
So I wonder if they were both the same. Maybe everybody else is on the other message. You know what I mean?
Oh. You're right.
If nobody comes out.
Isn't that? Oh, okay. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. There's our person.
There's one. Okay. There we go.
They're coming on. Oh yeah, there's Nancy. Okay, good. We're on the right wavelength.
We're still waiting for Nadir and the deer leader.
Yeah.
Practice with my base.
There's our fearless leader.
I'm here, Zoom willing.
Oh, there you go.
They have their login problems these days. So the problem is I logged in the way you guys did because Zoom wouldn't let me log in as the meeting starter, so I don't seem to be able to record it.
It says right up in the corner that's being recorded,
See if
up
you
in the
notice.
corner of my iPad.
Okay, well, when I click on the record button doesn't, okay, well, yeah, it says it's recording.
Ah.
You're right, so maybe we're okay. Second. They want me to do closed captioning, which I have never done before, so I'm going to see if I can do that. Well, maybe it's going to work. We'll see. Alicia will let me know. Okay. So let me get my notes here, just a second. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes behind schedule. A busy time.
No problem. We're just listening to the rain.
Yeah, it's raining again.
Oh my God, it's pouring here on Old Meadow Road.
So do we have everybody with us? I see we got Mike and Nancy and Nadine, Dear, and I guess we're good to go.
Okay.
See Mariah is with us, the applicant. I see Peg Crowley. Hello, Peg. You're muted, but you're welcome to unmute if you want to participate. Nadir, you're muted. And Mariah is muted.
Any longer.
Okay, so welcome, Mariah.
Huh?
Let me just begin by stating that this is a meeting that's being recorded. Meeting of the Dover Zoning Board of Appeals. We have one matter on the agenda tonight. It's an application by Mariah Reese of 35 Pine Street for a special permit to operate a short-term rental. And this is the public hearing. Is there any objection to waiving the reading of the notice of the hearing? Okay, no objection. The reading is waived. So let me first explain the process. The applicant presents to the board whatever information she thinks we should consider in support of her application. Then the board will ask the applicant any questions that they have and discuss any issues with the applicant that they have. After that, anyone else attending the meeting will be offered an opportunity to speak. We will then see if the board has any further discussion. At that point, we will close the hearing and the board will discuss the matter without any further input from the applicant or anyone else in attendance. And then we will take a vote. The one caveat is that sometimes we need to do a site visit. So that's the process. Before we start, I just wanted to say that the applicant and I are the slightest of acquaintances. I'm a runner and I run past her house on Pine Street when I'm out for my runs. And she is also a runner. I've seen her from time to time outside of her house over the years. I've stopped to chat with her for a minute or two, but always about just nothing consequential. I don't think that creates any kind of conflict of interest that would require me to recuse from the matter, but if anybody thinks differently, please say so now. Hearing nothing, I will proceed with the hearing. So Mariah, the floor is yours. Please share with us anything you want to tell us about your situation and what you would like us to do.
Yes, so hello, everyone. I'm Mariah Reese. So I have had an Airbnb at my home since October of 2019 and was very unaware that there was any permission I needed to get from the town. There's a dispensation that I got from Airbnb around taxes and that kind of thing, which is visible and, taped to a window. And I just put my ad in Airbnb, and I've had just an incredible experience with people from all over the world coming here for the last, 3.5 years, almost 4 years. Someone called the building department anonymously to ask if it was legal to have an Airbnb in Dover. They wouldn't give their name. They wouldn't talk about who they were, speaking of. And that kind of, Walter was not in the business, he said, of investigating anonymous inquiries or complaints or whatever this was. But his assistant had her ear to the ground, looked up Airbnb, and that kind of put that all in this direction. I wish it didn't go that way, because I'd be happy to comply with that, whatever I need to comply with in terms of a special permit. My home is about 2,800 square feet. It's an antique home. I have a private, sort of a separate master suite with a separate entrance in the back, separate patio. If you went on the listing, you'd see it. It's about 400 square feet, separate bathroom, and it's separate from my house in terms of a door that doesn't allow anyone to come in my private space. I'm reaching my 70 years of age. It's really nice to have people coming out here and enjoying this place. I'm the hostess with the mostest. I'm a 5-star super host, and people think it's very funny I do this, but it's really a blast. There's also a very, I really appreciate the revenue stream in terms of just paying my taxes. I have a private practice here in Dover. I'm an end-of-life doula. I'm a grief counselor. I do a lot of pro bono work. It's not the kind of work that you put on a clock often. And it's really allowed me, since finishing up my bigger career, to actually do this other kind of work and really financially be able to stay in a house that formerly had 2 to 3 other family members. So I'm just hoping that, the board really can see that this is, a value add on a lot of reasons. There's no parking on the street. It's all right at my home. People don't even know that this is here unless I tell them, and it's kind of a point of interest, fun sort of story. But there's no parties. If you look at the listing, it's very clear this is a mature environment. I tell them I have a private practice in the listing. There's no substances allowed here, in or out. And if you read my reviews, you'll see that I think this Airbnb is making the world a better place. So I would encourage you, if you have any questions, to just go look for yourself. There's plenty of pictures, and there's 125 reviews, and you can kind of see for yourself the quality of what I'm doing here.
I would point out for the record that you did submit to the town clerk some photographs of the spaces that are in question here, both the outside of your house and the inside, the bedroom and so forth, where you provide the accommodations. Did everybody on the board receive those?
Yes, yep.
Okay. How many, let me ask you this, Mariah, how many guests have you had over the past few years? Keep track? Is it a constant flow, or is it just occasionally, or?
Well, I think COVID had people really looking for workspaces and places to go that weren't hotels. So it was busy last year. I would say I mean, I could look it up, but maybe I had, 180 nights of people here. This year, I have 123 reviews, so you can kind of go from that. Not everybody reviews, obviously. This year has been quieter, more, people from all over the world coming for a day or two or three, before going to the airport or seeing Boston. So, I guess it wouldn't be unusual to have, over 100 people, over 100 nights booked. I guess that's the way I would put it, nights booked.
How long a stay do your guests typically have?
It could be 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights. It's rare. It's occasionally 4, but rare. Might be the parents visiting adult children here in Dover or Sherburne. That's generally the people that would want to stay longer. I have a limit on my stay. I think it's 6 days. But if somebody, writes to me and they're very often people write and they're really, really lovely, and, they respect sort of the ethics of my place and ask if they can stay a little bit longer. But I don't think I've ever had anyone stay for, I don't know, maybe 6 days, 7 days. Oh, I did have someone during COVID. I had a gentleman here from Boston, and that was interesting. He was a student, but he was on the spectrum, and the poor thing. It was good he was here. It was tough.
Board members, any questions or comments?
Another just point of interest is I often have people coming from Dana-Farber, which is really, I kind of see it as a blessing that they find this place, and then the word has gotten out. So it's not unusual to have someone here from a drug trial. And then to come back with family because it's a really peaceful place. And it's, really far from what they're going through, going into town and having those life prolonging treatments. It's just another interesting thing that's happened here as well.
I would point out that I wasn't aware of this, but town meeting last year, 2022, changed the bylaw, and they previous to that, your kind of operation, what they call short-term rentals, was not referenced at all in the bylaws. And at town meeting last year, they added short-term rentals to what's called the table of uses to indicate that they are permitted if you obtain a special permit.
Got it.
Before town meeting last year, as far as I can see, there was nothing that prohibited you from operating the way you've been operating.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And they added a definition of short-term rental, which is, quote, a housing unit or portion thereof available for occupancy for less than 30 consecutive days and subject to room occupancy excise tax.
Yes, which I think I've been paying all along.
So this is something new, and it's, in case you were wondering whether you were at fault for not realizing it, I wouldn't.
No, it's good.
That's okay. Okay, anyone on the board have questions or comments?
Well, I just have a comment that I think that the town was talking about making accessory buildings more usable and have everybody in town be able to have accessory buildings if they want to. That was being bandied around. I don't know if that's going to be a new bylaw or if it was just an idea that people had to make the garage or the pool house or something into an accessory apartment, just for this exact purpose that Mariah is doing, so that more people can, use the space. No, I don't find any problem with it, so.
Does the unit have its own separate kitchen? I think you mentioned kind of its own bathroom space, but is there also kind of a kitchen?
No, I have just a little coffee area, but no, there's no cooking in the suite.
Looked like there was a microwave.
Microwave, yeah, little refrigerator. Yeah, because it's an old house, so, well, it's all renovated. So there's a nice big open master bed, which is with a couch. It's, it's good size, as you can see in the picture. They always say it looks so much smaller in the picture than it is. And then, because it's an old house, the way I refigured it, there's a hall. And off that hall, there's a large bathroom, but in that hall, there's a little space at the end there for that coffee setup, which you can see in the photographs on the listing.
Do your guests enter from the back? Do they go up and around and in the back? So they don't come through your front?
Porch. Yeah,
They don't come through your front door?
no. No, I'm not ready for that.
So Alan, in 1920, I mean, in 2022, the town has approved something called a short-term rental.
Yep.
And now there's a room excise tax. Mariah, you said you've been paying the tax. Who you've been paying the tax to?
Yeah,
The
I
town?
included it. No, I included this with my original documents. It's called a Massachusetts Department of Revenue Room Occupancy Excise Registration Certificate. And so and from there, I know when I'm booking, there are taxes taken out of it. And at the end of the year, I get a whole summary of taxes that are paid, I think, to the state. I don't really know who they're paid to. It's all automated.
So Airbnb takes the money and then they pay the tax to Massachusetts. So the town of Dover gets nothing.
I can't say that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Ellen, since you had mentioned the fact that in 2022 the sort of bylaw was passed or amended to add the short-term dwellings, in the absence of it having been mentioned, was it not an approved use? Because I read kind of that statute to suggest that sort of it articulates the specific available uses, and anything not on there is not allowed. And so its exclusion would have presumably suggested not permitted, or was there some other articulation I missed?
That's a legal question. I'm not sure what the answer to that is. I'd have to look. I'm sure there's case law on that, but my guess is that if nothing says you can't do it, then you probably can. That would be my guess, but that's just a guess. Mike, any questions from you? That's a no?
Have your neighbors raised any questions or issues or concerns with the folks that are coming in and out of the short-term dwelling?
And they haven't even known that I have it until I tell them.
And those that know about it haven't raised any concerns or questions?
Unless they were the anonymous one.
Well, the anonymous comment, was that a complaint as you understood it?
No,
Just informing the building inspector that this was something that seemed to be going on?
I think it was a backdoor way of doing that, perhaps.
Yeah.
But you never know. It's like texting, you don't always understand what is being said. That person could have been looking at it for themselves and been being cagey. Is it legal? Is it not legal? Well, who is this? I'm not going to say. Well, what is this? Who is this for? I'm not going to say. Who knows?
You indicate you have a limit of 2 guests at a time, is that right?
Yep.
And so do you ever have more than 1 or 2 cars?
Never.
And you've never had a problem with parking space in your driveway being adequate?
No, there's plenty of room there.
So Alan, so we're responsible for now issuing or not issuing the special permit for the
Yep.
town? Is that the purpose?
Yes,
Okay.
she's allowed to do what she's doing if this board grants a special permit for what she's doing.
Good.
We are permitted, to impose conditions that are appropriate. Mariah, do you have any problem if we impose a condition that limits you to 2 guests at a time?
No,
Do you have any problem if we limit it to just the room rental and not a rental of the entire house?
oh, I'm not renting I have no problem with that.
Do you have any problem with restriction that says no on-street parking?
No problem.
And you said you don't permit substances. I assume you mean alcohol or drugs.
Or
Yeah.
vaping,
I'm sorry?
or vaping.
Do you have any problem with a condition that prohibits the use of those substances?
Oh, no, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
It just, gives me more firepower but you know what? I have never had a problem since I put that in there. I didn't think I had to put it in there because you can kind of do a tick box on Airbnb, but now it's so emphatic in my listing. People write to me just saying, don't worry, we are so adult and we will take such good care of your place, blah, blah, blah. So, but if you
Okay.
want to put that in there, that's fine with me.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board members?
No.
Does anybody think that we need to take a site visit?
I don't, because I looked at all the pictures, pretty
I
straightforward.
thought the pictures were very
Very-
helpful.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Give a good sense of what your situation is. Okay, members of the public in attendance, does anyone have anything they would like to say?
they're very silent.
I'm not hearing anything. Anybody want to talk? Now's the time. Oh, okay.
I do. Yeah. Hi, Rick Nagy. I'm on resident on Grand Hill Drive. There's a bit of discussion about the town meeting language. I watched all of town meeting this year, and I'm pretty sure the context for that language was people were specifically concerned that the new ADUs were going to be used for Airbnbs. And the concern was that we make sure that not happen. And that was sort of contingent in the town meeting passing the ADU law. So I may have misunderstood that at the time, but I think that may be the intention behind that language. And I
Well,
interpreted that as there being will to avoid having a buildup of Airbnbs in town.
Well, this is not an ADU. What's involved here is not what the ADU is, accessory dwelling unit. It's not an in-law suite. It's not a separate building. It's not an attached in-law suite that has kitchen facilities and so forth. So it wouldn't fall, and as far as I can see, it wouldn't fall under the ADU bylaw, and the building inspector has not said that it does. So I understand that was a concern that was addressed during the discussion about the new ADU bylaw. And I know that there are people in town, including myself, that would have concerns about Airbnbs of the kind that you read about in the paper sometimes. But I don't think this, as far as I can see, this does not fall under the ADU bylaw. I see Carol Lisbon might want to say something. Carol?
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Rick, for that comment as well. So there were, even though they occurred in subsequent years, 2022 and then 2023, they were really unrelated. So what we noticed in 2021 was that we had nothing in our bylaws relative to Airbnb. And it had been expressed to us by folks in Dover that there was concern that there was absolutely nothing in our bylaws about it, which is why the 2022 town meeting made it a requirement through the ZBA by special permit, which is why Mariah's here tonight. The concern, you were absolutely right, relative to an ADU was such that we specifically put into the ADU bylaw in May of 2023 that Airbnbs were not allowed, that short-term rentals were not allowed with an ADU. But Alan is totally correct that Mariah's apartment does not meet the definition of an ADU. So that particular bylaw is not relevant to tonight's discussion, if that helps at all.
But is the intent still relevant, right? That there was an expression of trying to limit short-term rentals for the purposes of ADU, but then wouldn't that also extend to other units that there's sort of an articulated preference not to have short-term rentals, or is that reading too much into what was said?
I think that there was a concern that ADUs could get out of hand, as was referenced earlier this evening, and we've all heard the horrible stories and so forth. There was at a point in Dover, I think it was pre-COVID, if I remember correctly, a party house, shall we say, and that created all kinds of issues for public safety and neighbors and so forth and so on. But by allowing a special permit through the ZBA, it allows for a process of individual attention to specific situations.
And I think, Nadir, that the fact that last year's town meeting adopted a bylaw that permits short-term rentals by special permit is a clear indication of the town's desire that short-term rentals be allowed as long as they're reasonable.
That makes sense.
And I don't see anything about the ADU bylaw that would change that in any way. And there was certainly no change from the ADU bylaw to the provisions adopted last year about short-term rentals.
Can you clarify what a short-term rental is? How many
Well, the
days?
bylaw, under the bylaw, it says up to 30 days.
Up to 30 days.
Yep.
One rental, one
Right,
person rental.
less than 30, so up to 29 or less.
Do we know if anybody has applied for an ADU in Dover yet? We haven't seen anything.
I don't know if it's been when there's a change to zoning bylaws, they have to be submitted to the Attorney General's office for approval. And I
Okay.
don't know, Carol, has that happened yet?
The paperwork has been submitted up to the state. We have not received a confirmation yet, though we fully expect to, but it usually in September, October, we hear. I do know that there have been a lot of inquiries to Walter in the building department. But again, until the actual bylaw is approved by the state, I don't think he's going ahead with any building permits.
I suspect we'll see some activity on that front once it gets approved by the Attorney General.
That's the idea.
Peg, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I don't. Thank you, Alan. I'm just here to support Mariah as a person and an outstanding individual with a great community spirit. And what she's doing, I think, serves a valuable purpose.
Thank you, Peg.
Okay. Any other comments from board members or the public? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have a chance now that the hearing is closed for further discussion by the board. I would, based on my questions about the applicant's receptivity to conditions, limiting the number of guests and so forth, does anyone have any issue with including those as conditions to the special permit?
not at all.
Let me just be specific. It would be a limit of 2 guests, a limit of just the room rental and not the entire house, a prohibition of on-street parking, which may be prohibited anyway, I'm not sure, and a prohibition or restriction that there be no alcohol, drugs, or smoking or vaping permitted. And I don't know about.
I have just on the occupancy of limited to 2. If you have 2 adults and they bring a child, is that considered free?
I think it would be. But that's not, I'd rather not have children possible here.
Well, you indicated that some people come there for, for the Dana-Farber cancer,
Yeah.
and that might include a child in the future. So
Good,
just saying
yeah.
that, if maybe 2 adults and maybe 1 child, including that in the special conditions, just
Okay,
my
fair.
2 cents.
You could do it as a total of up to 3, but no more than 2 individuals over 18 or something like that, right?
Well, you'd still have if it's a limit of 2, that would allow 1 adult and 1 child. The applicant says that she hasn't had more than 2, and if I heard you correctly, you said you don't particularly want to have children as guests.
No, but if someone came from Dana and they had a child in a trial, I'd certainly want to be able to let those parents have that child here. There's a couch for a child to sleep on. But you know, I don't
That would
think
be a rare occasion.
it hasn't happened yet, you know, it has not happened yet.
So we could say a limit of 2 adult guests and a maximum of 3 total.
Sure. No,
Yeah.
it's up to you.
Mike, does that work for you?
Yeah, that's if that's okay with the board and okay with Mariah, sure.
Sure.
Sounds fine.
Anyone on the board have any other conditions that they think would be appropriate to consider?
Could we consider something around noise or sound? You know, sort of timing, kind of, you know, trying to ensure that they're sort of maintaining the peace for the neighbors, though it sounds like it's a relatively, you know, kind of mild group that visits your house.
No, there is no noise happening here, but they're not staying.
Mariah, when you have guests, are you always there? Or
Yes.
do you know, you're there. If there's guests in the house, you're there.
Mhm.
So if there's noise or something, you can monitor that. Yeah.
What recourse do you have when you're in your house and somebody starts misbehaving?
I write to Airbnb, or I actually now have a phone number to call because I'm a super host. I would call and get advice and ask them to leave. But thank God that hasn't happened. That'd be awful.
I'm just curious, if you get a bad actor there and, you know, you're out on Pine Street, you're kind of isolated. What do you
The
do?
good news is you have reviews of these people prior. I don't take people who don't have reviews,
Okay.
and they're reviewed by the host. So you
Uh-huh.
really have a network of people that you, like I review people, so anyone looking at this person will know what they're getting. And that's the spirit of the system. So I
Okay.
had one right and they didn't have any reviews. And I said, I don't think this is the place for you.
Well, also, if there's a serious problem, some kind of serious conduct going on, you can always call the police.
God help me. I'll kill myself. Okay, if that happens, you will
Well,
not give me a permit if that happens. I don't want
what
that in
you-
my life.
It's not what you want, but if you had some kind of real problem, you
Yeah.
got the, and they're not
Good
far,
A good backup plan.
Make me nervous.
and you wouldn't have them coming back again.
No.
And- Okay, so a condition that the owner always be present when there are guests, that's okay with you too, Mariah?
Mhm. Well, I would rather that, like, if let's say I'm gonna be, somebody comes in on a Friday and I'm going on a Friday overnight and coming back Saturday night and they're here for the weekend, I'd really like to have that freedom to do that if I, feel trusting of the guest.
Okay,
It
well,
sounds reasonable. Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable.
okay. Well, I think the fact that it's rental not of the entire house is, kind of deals with the situation of nobody being out of control.
I don't think it's the type, people don't come to Dover for that kind of thing. People are coming here very purposefully.
Okay.
And they tell you why they're coming, or I want to know why they're coming. I don't just, get no information from them. I make it clear right in the beginning. I want to meet them when they come. I want to show them the place, you can kind of see when if you read the reviews, it's pretty personal, and I'm not welcome. I don't need this in my life. I really want good people, and it's been really fantastic that way. But there's a screening you can kind of do with people.
Okay. Board members, any other comments or questions? Okay, so this requires a unanimous vote from the 3 full members of the board. That's Nadir, Laverne, and me. We also get the input from our associate members. So I'll entertain a motion to approve a special permit, subject to the following conditions: that there be a limit of 2 adult guests and 3 total guests, a limit to a room rental and not the entire house, a restriction that there be no on-street parking, and that there be no substance use, meaning alcohol, drugs, and smoking or vaping. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Nancy, you're in favor as well?
Yes.
Mike?
Yep.
Mike, is that a yes? That's a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Mariah, what happens now is that we have to write a formal written decision, which will describe the input at the hearing and the vote of the board and the conditions imposed. Once that's finalized, it gets filed with the town clerk. And after it's filed with the town clerk, there's a 20-day appeal period. If anyone wants to challenge the special permit on legal grounds, they have 20 days to file suit in Superior Court. And the town clerk, once the 20 days is up, will notify everyone whether such an appeal has been filed or not. And if there's no appeal filed, then the building inspector can go ahead and issue the special permit.
Great. Thank you.
So we'll get that done, try to get it done as quickly as we can. Sometimes it takes a while, but this one is fairly straightforward, so I think we can probably get it done pretty quickly.
Great. Thank you for your time, everyone. I appreciate it.
Very welcome.
you.
Thanks for joining us. And
Come do, come do an overnight.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Yeah, take a break.
Thank
before
you.
everybody goes away, let me just tell the board members, I got notified by the town clerk today that there is a new 40B application that has been filed.
Oh, no.
This one.
Where?
Alan, I'm going to sign off, okay?
Yes, thanks, Mariah.
Bye,
Thank you,
Mariah.
everyone. I appreciate it.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Bye. From what I heard previously, it sounds like, this is just based on what I've heard before, so I don't know what's actually been filed. I haven't seen it yet, but what was in the works, I'm told, was a application involving 4 separate lots, buildable lots, which would have 3 market rate houses built on them, and then 1 affordable house built on the 4th lot. And I think it involves at least some property on Trout Brook Drive, but I don't really know anything more than that. Materials have been filed with the town clerk. They didn't file enough copies, so once the copies are on file, I will. It's voluminous enough that you'll need to each stop by and pick them up. It's too much for Felicia to mail out. But I will have to, I think I can stop by tomorrow and pick up a copy so that I can see what it says. Under the 40B process, we have to schedule the hearing within 30 days. So I'm going to be in touch with everybody on the board pretty soon to get your availability for hearing dates, which would be probably early August.
You should.
So,
Alan, may I just say something? This is Carol Lisbon.
yeah, sure.
Great, thank you, since I happen to be on. So this has been going on for a good 6 to 8 months.
It's over. Good.
And the representatives of the developer for the 40B did do a site tour. I believe it was this past fall or early winter. I was involved, and Walter Avalone was involved as well. So it is unique in the sense that it's 4 individual lots combining 140B.
I'm curious whether that I have a question for town council if that's what it is, which is, can you do that? I don't know what the answer is. There may be previous case law or something that says you can, but that could be an interesting issue.
Yeah, there's a lot of wetlands as well. As if you think about what Trout Brook looks like,
Yeah.
a lot of wetlands on the right hand side as you make your left turn into Trout Brook off of Claybrook.
Okay, so everybody stay tuned. Is anybody going to be away on the board in the next month or so?
I'm going to be gone for a week, July 26th until August 2nd. And then actually later in August, I'm going to Maine for 5 days. So I'm going to be gone a few different times, not that many.
Okay.
I'll likely be out the week of the August 20th.
Okay. There is I think it's a statute that says that if you're not able to attend one of the hearing sessions on a 40B, as long as you view the video of it later, you can still participate. And it may be that if vacation schedules are a problem, there's a good chance we could get the applicant to agree to extend the 30-day deadline so that everybody's schedules are accommodated. In the last 40B, we didn't get it scheduled quickly enough, and the applicant agreed to an extension. So we'll see what happens. Laverne?
Well, I could pretty much Zoom. If it's going to be Zoom, I can Zoom from California.
Okay.
If it's a meeting. I did that before last year.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be on Zoom.
Yeah, so that might help some of us.
Sure. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so stay tuned. I will let everybody know as soon as I know any more, which ought to be in the next days at least. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So
All in favor?
moved.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take-
Have a
take
nice
care.
summer. Okay,
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.